we should be now ready to talk about the fluid flow conservation laws, or what we call in the conservation equation. This is presented by the mass conservation, momentum conservation, and energy conservation. And mass and energy equations are very good to describe the fluid flow hydrodynamics, looking for the velocity and the pressure. And when we add the energy conservation equation, it will enable us to look into the thermal behavior of a fluid flow side by side with the hydrodynamics changes. So to look into the first equation, which is the mass conservation, also known as the continuity equation. To drive that equation, we are going to assume that we are dealing with a three-dimension fluid element. There's a very simple cubical shape fluid element. And we're going to set up the coordinate system. This is X, this is Y, and this direction is actually Z. The side length of that cubical element is dx in the x direction, dy in the y direction, and dz. Now we're going to look into the x direction first. Then we can project the results obtained in the x direction into the other directions, y and z. Then we can combine all of these findings to come up with one equation that describes the three-dimension flow of that fluid within that control volume or through that control volume. So I would go back to the back face here that has a dimension of dy and dz height. Then I will assume that there is certain quantity of mass coming into that face, and I'm expecting to have another quantity of mass going out. The mass conservation or the conservation law state that the net mass change of a control volume, I mean here in and out, should equal the time change temporal 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 change of mass within the control volume. Okay, so let's look to the analysis of the mass coming in, mass leaving out. As we know that mass flow rate is in a simple scalar calculation is the fluid density times the flow area times the fluid velocity. This will give us the mass flow rate. If you look to the unit, density is kilogram per cubic meter, multiplied by the flow area, which is meter square, multiplied by meter per second. You will find yourself that end up to have kilogram per second. That's the unit of the mass flow rate if you are using the SI unit. Bound mass per second, bound mass per hour, if you are using the imperial or the British unit. So this equation is telling me that if I look into the x direction, let's guess the mass flow rate in the x direction. It will be simply rho times the flow area in the x direction and times the velocity in the x direction. And the velocity vector will always have a three component, u in the x, v small in the y, and w for the z direction. So since I'm dealing with the x direction, I'm going to call that velocity u. Since I'm dealing with very, very, very tiny control element or fluid element, I'm going to call that area dA. So this can be written as rho u dE. And the area is the flow area, and the flow area from this graph is shown to be dy dz. That's the dA value. So the mass flow rate in the x direction is simply rho u dy dz. Now let's look to the mass flow rate leaving that fluid element, m dot out in the x direction. In a simple language, whatever is coming out of that phase is related to what was coming in, right? So whatever is coming out should equal to the mass flow rate in addition to some variation, right? So it's maybe the same quantity in plus something, or it's the same quantity in minus something. And this is what we express using Taylor series expansion, that the m dot out in the x direction will be the same mass flow rate in plus the variation occurring to that quantity of mass in that x direction. If you do that, you will find that this is rho u dy dz. This is a mass flow rate in, plus, if you are differentiating that term relative to the x, rho u are the same, y and z are the rho u dy dz. This is totally constant relative to the x. So you will end up having y and z is totally constant, but since we are developing the generic equation, I will keep rho and u as could be variable relative to the x. So this will be actually partial rho u by partial x, and y and z for sure are constant relative to the x. So I'm going to end up having dx, dy, and dz, right? So now if I want to get the net mass change in the x direction, this would be simply the difference between the mass flow rate in and the mass flow rate out. So m dot net in the x direction will be, this is equation 1, and this is equation 2. We will got equation 1 minus equation 2. The first term here will cancel out, so I'm going to end up having minus partial rho u by partial x times dx, dy, dz. If you project that into the y direction, m dot net in the y direction will be simply minus partial rho v by partial y times dx, dy, dz. You do the same in the z direction, m dot net in the z direction, it will be minus partial rho w by partial z, still dx, dy, dz. Okay, so if I want to get the net mass change of that control volume in all direction, I will simply add up the 3 components here. So I would have the left-hand side of this mass conservation equation will be simply minus is a common factor, right? dx, dy, dz is also a common factor. I would have partial rho u by partial x plus partial rho u by partial y plus partial rho, sorry, that's v, partial rho w by partial z, and this should equal to the time change of the mass inside that control volume, right? So the mass inside the control volume, this is partial the mass within that control volume relative to the time. The mass inside that control volume is simply the density times the volume of the control volume. So it's going to be actually rho dx, dy, dz. If you substitute in the right-hand side, I'm going to end up having partial rho by partial t. Then this is totally multiplied by dx, dy, dz. You notice that dx, dy, dz is repeated in both sides. I can cancel out it. So I'm going to end up having, this is totally a negative term. I will bring that negative term to the right-hand side. So the final equation will be partial rho by partial t plus partial rho u by partial x plus partial rho v by partial y plus partial, my brain is moving faster than the handwriting, so that's the v small partial rho w by partial z is equal to 0. So this is the general equation. I can simplify that partial rho by partial t plus, this is a scalar value, can be broken into dot product of two vectors, right? This will be partial by partial x, partial by partial y, partial by partial z, and here I will have rho u, rho v, and rho w equal to 0, and I can rewrite this equation as, this is presenting nabla, so that's nabla dot rho, and this is the vector v equal to 0. So this is the mass conservation law. This is a general equation. Then you can start driving a special cases out of that equation. For example, if we are solving steady state, so a special case, if we are solving steady state, in a previous video we explained the meaning of the word steady state or steady flow. It means that your thermophysical your velocity, your density, whatever it is nothing is changed relative to the time. So for a steady state, I should have anything relative to the time is constant, it's not changing. So this should be 0. So I'm going to end up having nabla dot rho and the velocity vector equal to 0. So this is the steady state continuity equation. What if we said that a second option, in addition to steady state, I will also assume that I'm dealing with incompressible fluids. If I'm dealing with incompressible fluid, this means that thermophysical property like density is not going to change. So this is telling me that rho is also constant. So it has no meaning to include rho inside that derivative parts here. It's not going to change. It's always constant. So it's going to get out of that differentiation. So you end up having that rho actually taken out. On the right-hand side is 0. So you're going to end up simply having nabla dot v equal to 0. Remember, v is a 3-dimensional vector, x, y, and z. So the final special case I can derive from this equation is to have steady state for incompressible fluid. In addition to that, you are solving one-dimension problem. In this case, you will end up having only the derivative, the partial in the x direction only exists, y and z. It could be x or y or z, but to be more realistic, that's the standard case. So I'm going to end up having partial u by partial x is equal to 0. And this is the last and the most shortest equation for continuity under all these assumptions. And that concludes the mass conservation equation derivation as part of the conservation law.